That's the topic, right?
Yes, this is the title. What is magnetism? Now, according to the video that I displayed before, what is magnetism, class? Who wants to try to give me an information or a definition about what is magnetism for you? According to what you learned or what you understand in the video.
I understand. One day my sister playing with a pink metal and a lot of pink metal, and I understand put it together and stay here in my house. My dad has some pink metal.
Some objects that they contain metal. Thank you, Rebecca. So she's saying that she has her house, some objects that they contain metal. So they might have a magnet included in some of them, or using a magnet, you can know if they can attract, repel each other, if they are going to stick together or not. Thank you. Who else wants to try to give me a definition about magnets or magnetism? Khaled, Trocious?
For example, this is, I have a.
You have one object. That is a magnet. That's why you have one magnet.
Paper. And it's not magic. No, it's metal. It's not magic.
Okay, good example.
No paper.
Yes, they are not going to stick together because the paper is not made of metal.
I have this.
It's producer of an electric charge. The magnetism.
For example, I have this.
And they are attract each other, right? There is a pushing and pull force each other. And now, thank you, Khaled. You have an example. You show us an example of magnetic objects and non-magnetic objects by using your magnet. You demonstrate that some of the objects they can attract, or some of them they are not going to be attracted because they are not made of metal. Perfect. Yes, any other person that wants to try to give me a comment about magnetism? Oh, okay, so I'm going to tell you here the definition. What is magnet? So let's copy this in the notebook. You are going to copy this information. What is a magnet? A magnet is anything, yes, copy everything. It's anything that will attract or they're going to pull. So as Khaled was showing, the magnet was attracting one object that it was made of metal, but it can be not be attracted by objects that they are no magnetic objects, like the paper. The paper is not made of metal, so it's not going to attract. So objects that can be attracted to the magnet, there are metals like iron, steel, and others like the cobalt. The cobalt is another type of magnet that it's going to be attracted metal. Now, using a magnet, it can be a pushing or a pulling force. That force is called magnetism. The pushing or pulling force that exists around a magnet. So we cannot see it. We're not going to see it. It's imaginary. Yes, you should be copying this. It's imaginary. You're not going to see it. With your eyes, you're not going to see it, but there is a force. There is a force that it exists and it's around the magnet, in all the magnets. So all these magnets can come or it can be in a different shapes. Like the one example that Khaled has. You can have magnets in your house. Maybe next class you can have some magnets and some objects, so we are going to have a demonstration. But magnets can see, you can see different types of magnets. And they have a magnetic field, like in the video was displayed. But in next slide, I'm going to explain more about it. And this time, just a magnet. Remember, a magnet?
We have to copy only a magnet and magnetism.
Magnetism. Both. You need to copy both. Okay, thank you, Lucia. Valerie, tell me, Valerie.
I have example of the magnet.
Okay, tell me.
Look.
You have one? Okay, yes, it contains a magnet. And using your magnet, Valerie, you can try to figure out which objects can stick to it or which objects cannot stick to it. For example, try with your notebook. Let's see if the magnet is going to stick in your notebook. Nope, nope, nothing happens. But try now with your with the scissor, maybe with a scissor. If you have a scissor with you.
Yes.
Yes, try with the scissor. It's going to stick with the
Can,
scissor.
but
It's so heavy. I think that it's too heavy. Yes, they're going to stick. Yes. With a scissor, because it's made of one type of metal, so it's going to stick. So what happened here is that they might attract, but it depends. There are some objects or some magnets that they can be heavier than others. Thank you, Valerie. Good job.
Yo copié.
Copy this. 10 seconds to finish.
No.
How can I say refri in English?
How do you say refrigerador in English, class?
Refrigerator.
That's right. What happened with that? In your refrigerator, you can have some magnets. Have you
Yes.
seen that in your refrigerator, you have some magnets that you can put some?
Yes, I
they
have some
different
magnets.
objects, many magnets. Yes. They can be in the shape of fruits. It can be in the shape of different shapes, different objects.
Yes.
There are many of them, Sian. Perfect. Yes, there are magnets, Sian. What you have in your hands, there are magnets. So you can use those magnets to know which objects we're going to attract. So for next class of science, have already a magnet. Yes, for next class, not today. For next class, you can have already a magnet because we're going to make an activity. So try to have one. If you don't have one in your house, don't worry. You're not going to buy one magnet just for the class. Just if
I
you have
have
a
some,
magnet.
but I don't know if they're gonna work.
Don't worry, don't worry. We're going to see if they're going to work in next class. Finish class? Did you finish to copy this?
Yes.
No?
It is, yes. Magnetism around.
Mhm. So
I
the
finished.
object, excellent, the object that you have in your hands, it's a magnet. But the force that exists around that magnet is called magnetism. So we're gonna see the magnetism. We can see the action that is going to happen. Yes, all of you finished class? I can change the slide now. Yes,
I finished.
finished. Okay, let's go to the next slide now. What it says here, what do we have? Do not copy, do not copy this. What shape is a magnet? As you can notice, we have some examples of magnets, and the magnets, they can have different shapes. You can see different shapes in the magnet. Like this one, the bar magnet, you can have one bar, it's made of magnets. Like Alberto, you have one magnet in your hands. It can be in this way, in a cylindrical magnet. It can be in like the shape of a letter U, U-shaped magnet. It can be a horseshoe magnet, circular magnet like Alberto. Alberto has one circular magnet, and it can be like a ring. And you see that some objects, they can be attracted. They can be stick on it.
Look. This
Is why it says N and S.
N and S, that's a good question. Thank you, Dela. You have
and so.
excellent, Sian. You give the answer. Why they have N and S? Because it means north and south. The magnets, they can have a pole. As it was mentioned in the video, they have a pole. All of them, they have north pole and the south pole. Have you ever listened to this expression? It says, los polos opuestos se atraen. Have you listened to that expression in Spanish? No? No?
Yes.
Yeah, some of you, yes, no. Okay, and also if you remember the bit, it says what happened if you have the north poles with the other north poles. They are going to not be attracted because they are the same. But if you have the north pole with the south pole, two magnets using the north and the south pole, they're going to be attracted because they are the opposite. They are the contrary. So that's why they have the N in S, because all the magnets, they can have a north pole and a south pole. According to the pole that you are using in one magnet, you are going to try to use the other. So the force that is going to be in the north pole is not the same that you're going to have in the south pole. It's not the same the magnet, U-shaped magnet, the force that you're going to have in a circular magnet. There are some magnets that they are so heavier and they have more force than others. So that's why it says magnetism works in a different way around each shape of magnet. Now, here we're going to copy this. Let's copy this also. Magnetic field. What happened with the magnetic field? Copy this information also. These two, please. Copy this. Magnetic field is the space around a magnet where magnetism acts. That is magnetic field. And what is a pole? A pole is a place on a magnet where magnetism is the strongest. Is what we were saying to Gabriela, that we have north and south pole. So magnetic field is number one that you have to copy, and then copy this pole.
Miss, in magnetic field is an error because that space around. In this that space around.
Yes, that's right.
There is an
this space. That's right. Excellent, Fernando. Magnetic field is the space around a magnet where magnetism acts. So you just write that. Yes, copy this. Everybody copy this. So a magnetic field is imaginary. You cannot see the magnetic field. I'm going to draw. You don't have to draw fast. So for example, this is the magnet that we have. In this magnet, we can have some like here. I'm going to draw like here some things. You don't have to draw fast. I'm going to draw. And this is the invisible magnetic field. We are not able to see this magnetic field that is in each of the magnets. And this magnetic field is where magnetism acts, where it's going to attract or not. This, for example, this flips. It's going to attract or not a paper. It's going to attract or not a book, an umbrella, a computer, or any other objects. Is where it's going to act. It depends on the object that we're using. So this, like lines that I'm drawing here, they're like imaginary. You cannot see it. They're invisible. So invisible magnetic field. It's all the space that is around a magnet. It contains a magnetic field that it's going to attract or not at the other object. And the pole, why it's important to know the pole? Because as you can notice, the object, it can have a north pole or a south pole. So it can be strongest, magnetism is the strongest, it can be in the north or in the south pole. So they can attract or they can repel each other. For example, if you have, for example, this. Let's imagine that this is a magnet. And here we have the north pole. And this is the south pole. And we have another magnet here. And this is going to be the south. And this is going to be the north pole. If I put together these two magnets, since I have the north and this is the south pole, they are going to attract each other. They are going to be attracted because I have opposite north and south. So they are going to be attracted. But if I have a pole, that it's, for example, here, the south pole, and here is the north pole. But I have the other magnet that in this case is the south poles again, and this is the north. And I try to put them together to see if they're going to repel or not. You're going to notice that they're going to repel. Why? Because they are the same. And we learn that they must be different. We cannot have two magnets with the south pole side to try to stick together. No, they have to be north and south, not the same.
I finished.
I drawed.
You draw? Okay. So by using this information with the pole, thank you, Joshua, excellent. We can know that the South Pole and the North Pole, they are going to attract. The North Pole and the South Pole, they are going to attract each other. And the magnets, they're going to attract. So they're going to move toward each other. But when we have the two of them, that they are the South Pole and the South Pole in the other magnet, since the two are two South Poles, they are going to repel each other. So it means that what is going to happen? They are going to move away. They're going to move away. Nothing's going to happen. They're not going to stick each other. So remember, the opposites attract. The opposite attracts. Okay, did you finish class? Did you finish, Valerie? Valerie, tell me. Gabriela, yes, Valerie, tell me.
May I go to the restroom, please? I already finished.
You finished? We are going to finish the class. Later you can go, Valerie. Finish class? Did you finish, all of you, to copy this information? No? Okay, Valerie, go. I'm going to wait 1 minute for your classmates, so you can go in 1 minute. Sian, thank you. Excellent. Okay, let's finish to work on this class. I'm going to take the attendance while you are finishing to copy this information. So say present if you are connected. Ana, Andrea, and Camila. Thank you, Marcelo. Ana, Andrea, and Camila. Not here. Gabriela, Isabela, and Kiara.
Present.
Lucia, Mia, and Rebecca.
Present.
Rosa, Valerie, and Cian.
Present.
Okay, Valerie is here, yes, and Rosa, okay, Rosa has excuse. Alberto, Dani, and Fernando.
Present.
Perfect. Hermes, Joshua, and Caleb.
Present.
Marcelo, Santiago Hernandez, and Santiago Chavez.
Present.
Present.
Perfect. Santiago Hernandez Piallos. No. Okay. Finished? 10 seconds more? Okay, 10 seconds. Thank you, Sian. Excellent. You did a great job. Now, as you can notice, remember, we have magnetic fields. It's imaginary. You cannot see these lines. And we have two poles. The magnets, they have two poles, the north and the south pole. In the north and the south poles, as you can notice, it's attracting some flips. But also, it doesn't mean that just the north and the south pole, it can attract. Also, in the center of this magnet, it can attract other things. But in some cases, it can be strong in the north or in the south. It's going to depend. So we are going to identify there. It's which one, the north, the south, or the center can hold more flips than the other one. And remember that they have different shapes. As you mentioned, you were showing here in the class that you have some magnets we can have in different shapes. Perfect, Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide, class. Remember that they can repel, they can attract, or they can repel. Now, using some magnetic materials, here I have some examples. Metals, remember the metal is going to be attracted by the magnet. For example, it's made of nickel, the nickel knife. It's going to be attracted, the cobalt coin, it can be attracted. The steel spoon, also it's going to be attracted by the magnets. An iron nail and a steel paper clip. So the clip is going to be attracted by a magnet. We can have any other objects, yes, that can be attracted by a magnet. But most of the cases, we are going to identify that they are made of metal. So these are the information that we have. Now, let's copy this, a compass. Let's write this. A compass is a small magnet that can turn freely. Do you know that a compass is also a magnet? So people used to use this compass to know what is the north, the south, the west, or the east. Yes, copy this. Copy this information in your notebook.
Only compass.
And if you're seeking 4 points,
Yes, copy everything. Copy
up
everything.
and down.
Yes, all the information about this. A compass. Because a compass is an example of a magnet.
You know what I mean?
No, we're not going to draw today. Next class, we're going to draw it. So today, please do not draw the compass. Just write the information of a compass. It's a small magnet that can turn freely.
Miss, but not anymore. Miss,
Tell me.
I know how to copy more.
Copy this. This is the last thing that we're going to copy today. Now, once you finish, you show me your notebook. Remember that you have one homework in science. What is your homework class in science? Who can tell me the homework?
Experiment.
do an experiment.
Yes, the experiment.
Recording yourself.
Mhm.
Recording yourself. No más.
Podemos hacer el experimento que nosotros queramos.
Yes, we're going to choose the experiment that you want. In 3 minutes, you're going to explain the experiment in 3 minutes in English. And you're going to record your video. You're going to send through school. Next week, we're going to show all the videos here in class. Yes? Thank you, Cian. Thank you, Santiago Chavez. You can disconnect. Bye-bye. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Fernando.
Bye.
Excellent. Like your drawings. So if you have any question about your homework, about your experiment, you might ask. Try to use the materials that you have in your house or materials that you can get access. So easy.
I think I only be going to say a video and explain it, but I receive classes in the church.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you, Kiara. Okay, you are going to record your video in your house, Rebecca. In your house, you can record the, try to record the experiment. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you, Mother.
But I am in the church. I am in the church.